Welcome to part 4 of our seminar, and in this section we're going to be talking about facility-based long-term care. Now the fact is, none of us wants to go to a nursing home. It's something that all of us want to avoid, but the reality is that over 70% of people are going to need some form of long-term care in their lifetimes. And as much as we want to try and care for our loved ones and keep them home, at some point the care that they need may rise to a level where we can no longer provide it, and they need expert level medical care 24/7. And in that case, we're talking about facility-based care, someone actually going to a nursing home so that they have the round-the-clock care that they need. Now, Medicaid MassHealth will provide benefits for long-term care in a facility if you qualify. And there are lots of requirements for you to qualify for this type of coverage. A facility needs to accept long-term care through MassHealth, which not all of them do. And once you find a facility that you like that does take MassHealth, you have to then apply for benefits. The application is lengthy, it's cumbersome, there are lots of questions in there designed to trip you up. It's not something that you should be trying to do on your own. It's something that you should be hiring an attorney to do for you. Now, Medicaid looks at two things. They look at income and they look at assets. All right? Medicaid has an asset limit of $2,000 for a single person. That means someone that's single, unmarried, and applying for long-term care benefits cannot have more than $2,000 in their names to qualify for MassHealth. If they have over $2,000 in their names, they have to spend down those assets before they can qualify. Now, a married couple is looked at a little bit differently. If we've got a married couple where one spouse is going into a nursing home and the other is staying home, the spouse that's staying home is allowed to keep a higher level of assets known as the Community Spouse Resource Allowance, or CSRA. Now, the CSRA amount changes every year. For 2022, that amount is $137,400. That's how much money the at-home spouse is allowed to keep. The spouse going into the facility can keep an extra $2,000, and that's it. If you're over those asset limits, you have to spend down your assets before you can qualify for long-term care. Now, the other thing that MassHealth looks at is the income. They take the income, they allow you to keep a very, very small amount of it, and they want the rest of it being paid towards the facility care every month, and MassHealth steps in and pays the difference. So whatever amount of income you've got coming in, MassHealth wants you paying most of it to the facility. You can keep a very, very small amount, and they want the rest. And the amount that you have to pay into the facility is called a PPA, which stands for Patient Paid Amount. Think of it like a deductible on your health insurance. Before MassHealth will pay the monthly benefit to the facility, you've got to pay this patient paid amount each month. MassHealth steps in and they pay the rest. There are situations, again, with a married couple where we might have one spouse going to a facility and the other spouse staying home, where the staying home spouse needs some extra income in order to pay the bills, pay the mortgage, pay the real estate tax, pay the home insurance. In those cases, we can divert some of the facility spouse's income back to the at-home spouse so that the at-home spouse doesn't lose their home. Now, the amount that we're allowed to keep for the at-home spouse, it's different for everybody. Medicaid has a calculation that they use to determine the amount, and you've got to prove your at-home bills so that they can determine how much you're allowed to keep. That amount is referred to as the Monthly Maintenance Needs Allowance, MMNA. And in most cases, the spouse that's at home can't afford to stay home without some of that income from the spouse that's going to the facility. You have to be very, very careful when doing the MassHealth application, because this information needs to be part of the application or you risk losing the MMNA altogether. Stay tuned for the next video in our series where we're going to be talking about how to spend down your assets if you're over those MassHealth limits.